against Jankos. We see that actually pretty often now in Europe.
Blue side especially.
Yeah, this week here they kind of remove some of these very early game focused junglers. Varus, no real surprise, overpowered.
Yeah, and with the return of Renekton as well, it seems like a good way to tackle Renekton instead of actually banning the champion or the counters is just banning away strong junglers and making sure that your jungler is stronger to eliminate kind of that push dive effect.
And I feel like with these two teams, like we kind of touched on it just before, like we have a lot of respect for the coaches. Like I feel like they have really good drafts and they really understand, you know, how to build proper team comps in the current meta. Especially Misfits have been very quick to picking up all the new things. LeBlanc is still not banned. If she remains open, which we don't expect, then it will be the first time in 25 games on this patch that she's not banned.
It's a cool stat. She'll probably be banned anyways. Misfits banning out their own Ivern, the champion that they brought out in week 2 and 3 to really kind of revolutionize the Ivern poke comp that every single team then started picking up.
And to get a KaKAO in line. You know, in Europe, you play supports now.
Sit down. First, we get you in check. You play Ivern, then you get to play the carries.
And then he's gotten his Lee Sin. So, rengar is available for him. No Lee Sin for KaKAO. For KaKAO?
For KaKAO?
For KaKAO, no.
Stop talking about KaKAOs, man.
Man, you got me there with the KaKAO tipping. I'm in now. I'm in the zone. Malzahar as well, Krepo.
I know you like your Malzahar in first rotation. It seems very standard whenever teams give up the rengar. They don't want to give up the Malzahar on the other side. Usually, we could see like matching a Graves here and then deciding later on what you would pick. But this early priority on Syndra is a bit of a change for H2K.
It's because, like, obviously both mid laners are very known Syndra players here in Europe, and Febiven really likes the champion. Most played after IEM when Mabel kind of spanked him a little bit with it. He kind of brought it back in, you know, so H2K is picking it a lot. I like this as an answer to Malzahar. We've also seen Zilean. Yeah,
Zilean is a great answer, but Tahm Kench also just works so well against Syndra. Both these champions, either you revive the guy that's dead, or you prevent him from dying in the first place, but you need your support to be an answer.
Okay, and looking at AD carry, either Jhin or Ashe, the reason for Ashe here, if she gets locked in, is simply because her range against Malzahar, like the 600 range and the volley, really makes it hard for Malzahar to keep his passive up in lane. So unless he flash engages, which gets obviously countered by the Tahm Kench, then it can be difficult.
It's a cool story.
I just want to get the story in, as you guys know, I know about the matchup.
But if you remember that Ashe is notoriously really bad into Tahm Kench, like teams went away back at Worlds, like they were banning away the Tahm Kench so they could play the Ashe because you can never find an arrow target. Why not just pick the Jhin itself?
Sure.
Right now, Misfits, they're fine with the opposing team picking Ashe here.
Just give me the Graves or Lee Sin then. If you don't want to go for the Ashe. Anyway, you end up playing like Seve or Caitlyn.
Or Kennen AD carry.
Kennen AD carry, you know, an old school. Or we go for the
Korean style.
Korean, Ezreal. I don't think they needed to pick Ezreal here, but they actually accept Jankos will get banned out in this case here.
It shows a level of comfort and confidence in their jungler though, that he can eat 2 jungler bans and still have an okay matchup into that Rengar. A pick that was honestly so feared prior to IEM, but then a reality check happened.
And on the side of H2K, you can both ban mid and top laners right now. Not sure they actually feel there's anything they have to remove for Febiven to have a good lane on Syndra. That's kind of one of the reasons they early picker. She's just so safe overall. Zed is like one of the picks some teams want to play.
Orianna used to be an answer too, but she's obviously disabled right now.
Yeah, she's gone. Here in Europe only, was played over in LCK actually. So top lane focus from H2K. I want to see if they're just going to pick Nautilus top.
Yeah.
To say,
or if it's a carry matchup.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see Alphari square off against Odoamne in a carry meta, because so often he gets defined as like this tank player. But if you go back to Worlds, there were many instances where Odoamne, without the Jace, you know, he can play Kennen too. This guy can carry individually as well.
To wait to see here with the last ban. No focus again on mid laners, because PowerOfEvil is not really known for the likes of Zed. Ahri could be considered, simply because PowerOfEvil had a really good performance last week on this champion and might want to play it here.
Last week as well, we saw Misfits come out with a different style. In the earlier parts of the season, they were a late game team centered around, you know, Nashor plays, objective, calm and collected. But last week, they switched gears completely. It was push mid, roam, dive top, priority on the top lane, have the more aggressive jungle right now. That's why they're probably going to ban out the Grave, hopefully following the Lee Sin, so at least KaKAO can have parity in the jungle.
With a potential second jungle ban in this rotation, we have a lot of junglers removed. Misfits are going for the old, let's not ban anything.
I wonder if that's intentional.
They always bait us, like, we don't know, intentional, maybe, maybe not. I'm looking at the guys right now, they don't look too concerned, so could have been intentional.
But if you're H2K here, do you just go Nautilus?
I think Nautilus is a safe one right now. He's the best of the available tanks for sure up in the top lane. You can also go for your jungler and just save for counter pick top, and that's what they're doing.
Oh, the Kha'Zix matchup. It's been a while since Kha'Zix saw a priority. He really disappeared for like 1 week, where people were like, no, this champion is super bad. And then people figured out, okay,
it's not that bad.
Not that bad.
It's very, very true. It used to be like a scrim pick. You know, he would always be good at scrims in Europe.
10-0 Kha'Zix.
Like 10-0 all the time. Then on stage, people were kind of more hesitating in the way they were playing and a little bit less aggressive plays. And Alphari, the man who loves to play carries, has to listen to his coach. And the coach said Shen.
Yep, sit down, big Shen.
This man on the screen, Hussein, the man in charge. And last pick for them with mid. Like, again, Ahri is something we've seen so often now from PowerOfEvil. Again, something like this. Rise is also available.
Yeah. Rise will bring a bit better scaling. Ahri would give the kind of the goal and the purpose of the comp would make it more into the early to mid game and really have to facilitate picks. You can easily dive bot lane here with this comp, right? Like if you have a tower reset tool in the Tahm Kench, you have 2 delivery systems with Rengar and Ahri to really make that penalty count. I think that's maybe something that Misfits are looking for.
I wonder if we're going to see, well, I was going to say Maokai, but Nautilus was the one we highlighted before, just because if it was a Maokai, you know, against Ahri, very good for point and click. But Nautilus is considered the strongest tank. It is what they're going to pick in the end, so not the most exciting last pick for Odoamne.
Yeah.
The big, big top lane matchup, tank. We're like, no, please.
Both these teams running damage dealer junglers. They have 2 carries. The scaling, I think, is slightly in favor of H2K, but it's hard to say. I think the Ezreal in the late game can just pop off.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's slightly in favor of H2K. Nautilus also as a tank late game. You know, both him and Shen are actually very like early mid game focused, but obviously just a brick wall later on. I like though Misfits with the 1-3-1 setup, Shen one lane, Ahri the other, and then Tahm Kench in mid lane with his ulti.
Yeah.
So if you're Misfits, you can move multiple members around the map very, very quickly. And that means a guy like Febiven on Syndra with no mobility, if he ever goes to a side lane and wanders, you know, for a little bit too far forward, he gets ganked by like 2 or 3 guys almost instantly. So it puts a lot of pressure on H2K, and they have to find the team fights.
Yeah, definitely. So Misfits, they can really kind of shake up the map, jumping from left lane to right lane to mid lane, and division will be incredibly important for them.
Super important, man. I just want to see these 2 teams play now because we feel like there's not that many like weaknesses to highlight. Only really H2K's late game is where we've seen some of these problems in the past.
Martin, I'm going to cut you off. The champions, they're locked in. Let's get into game 1 between Misfits and H2K.
Misfits dominating the map.
H2K, almost no snags on this one. They come back from IEM and they make a hell of a statement, dismantling, dismembering, and destroying this team.
We are on the rift for the first game in what hopefully will be an exciting 3-game series here between Misfits and H2K. 2 teams that are so used to being ahead in the early game. Like, these teams have barely played from behind. We'll touch more on that later, but need to see how they will actually react to being put at a deficit.
Exactly, and 2 of the top teams for the entire season. Funny enough, Misfits have actually ever since week 1 sat as number 2 in Group A. They have not moved.
Unluckily for them, they were drafted in the group that also had G2 eSports in there.
Yeah, that's kind of the sucky part for them. H2K and Unicorns have kind of been jumping up and down, number 1, number 2, switching positions, and now H2K, they gotta catch Unicorns again.
Is it safe to say then that this is a match that will decide who is the 2nd best team in Europe?
Well, not if you're a Unicorns of Love fan. Then it's who's gonna tie Unicorns for 2nd best in Europe.
Excluding the pink power ponies, is it safe to say that this is a match for the 2nd best team in Europe?
I think current form, yes, I think so. H2K actually looks stronger after coming back from IEM. Classic European strategy: go to international tournament,
get spanked by Koreans,
get spanked a little bit by some Koreans
and flash rules.
Go on Twitter, say you learned a lot. Return to Europe and look slightly better. And we're like, hey, I guess it worked.
And strategy-wise, it worked out really well for H2K because while they dropped out, they basically made G2 the scapegoat. All the hate went towards
That's
G2.
True. H2K actually were going to win that series 2-0. And then the famous H2K team fighting 2017 kicked in. Odoamne has talked a lot about it back in the makeup room, how he TPs into a little smoke grenade and then he can't see anything and his team is dying.
Yep, gets out of the smoke screen, realizes this is the darkest timeline. For now, though, we need to see which style Misfits want to play, because they varied a lot week to week. You could definitely see the shift in priority last week, but it seems a lot more kind of tempered, but still focused around picks here.
It is, but I think Misfits will have some issues very early on. Like, if you look at the lanes, Nautilus will push in Shen. Syndra early on will push in Ahri, and bot lane as well with the Malzahar. They will also have to push on the side of H2K, so it could open up for Jankos.
To invade, yeah.
To invade.
I'm learning here.
Yeah, you said you wanted to finish each other's sentences, so I wanted you to say invade.
No, it is true. If you play with 3 pushing lanes, unless you have a really strong jungle matchup that outduels inherently, you can play around that, but I don't think rengar outduels Kha'Zix in the slightest, especially if he has backup from like Febiven joining him.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed KaKAO do in the past with this and other rengar players is you just do a full clear, go back to base, get double longsword.
Yep.
And then if the Kha'Zix shows up, you have some extra AD right there, and you can actually try and challenge him. So you can see on your minimap right now that KaKAO has just been doing a full play. He's down at the crooks in the bottom. Every single camp is dead, and Jankos already gone back to base, only getting 1 longsword.
Yeah, and KaKAO is also covering pretty well.
Whoa. Okay.
I don't have faith in KaKAO.
I mean, I do too, but...
No more doubting. He actually had a ward in the entrance of his jungle, knowing if Jankos was going to step in and contest. And this will also be a good game to kind of judge Alphari, because many top laners historically would be great tank players, but would struggle playing a carry role. Alphari is a great carry, but he hasn't really proven that he's a fantastic tank player just yet. It is the easier transition of the two, but we still need to check it.
It is not the tank mechanics. The man can land a flash taunt. Yeah. That is not the issue. He can land a hook. He can click W on Maokai. It's more, you know, when are you engaging? How are you engaging? Where's your TPs coming in? Where other tank players maybe have shown more value. Odoamne is a man we like to say he can play everything. Yeah. But it's not like he's the perfect player. I mean, no one is here in Europe. Sadly, don't have
except
Faker.
Deficio on Twitch.
Very close to perfect. Then we nerfed Twitch, and I have dropped a lot.
Significantly
lately. KaKAO's now with this double longsword.
It's almost as somebody did VOD reviews. I really like the deep control ward. It just gives some pressure for Alphari to play slightly more aggressive in the top side. And again, counteracting exactly what we were talking about earlier, you know, the 3 pushing lanes, because the very first few levels, it's tough, but even on the bot lane, Sama and IgNar are kind of pushing back onto Nuclear and Chei right now.
I like that these teams understand the kind of casters they have, so they avoid fighting, and we can just sit here and talk.
Because this is obviously a duel about who becomes the new First Blood King. Because we have the old here in Jankos, who is, you know, traditionally been it, but what is a king to a god? Because KaKAO actually has better stats.
Or we can call Jankos a First Blood peasant right now, as he's the second last in the league.
Would you say that to his face?
You probably could, yeah.
There we go, let's take a look at it. If you look at the stats though, just raw at the stats, KaKAO just overshadows Jankos. It's not even close. Like if you look at the goal difference at 15 minutes, kill participation, and the first blood participation, all these stats are massively in favor of KaKAO, but there's obviously softening circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jankos, while you know you look at kill participation, he might be very low. Well, that's because H2K as a team is actually getting much more kills in the early game, and he can't be part of all of them. So Misfits is a very slow early game team, and that means, you know, Alphari rarely gets a solo kill, or PowerOfEvil doesn't go for that many either. So KaKAO needs to be there in order for him to really get rolling, and he needs level 6 on this rengar. He's getting it very soon. Survived kind of these pushing lanes.
Yeah, both these junglers really waiting for the level 6 spike here. Now, Jankos, this is just a supporting gank. Really just wants to help Odoamne pressure in the wave so it can reset. And the game can actually start. Once these guys hit level 6, Shen ultimate, Odoamne with teleport, both power spikes on the jungler.
Jankos there with the moral support, just yelling from the brush, "You're doing well, mate. Push, push. Press E. I'm proud of you." It's like your parents always rooting for you when you played football when you were a kid.
Yeah, my mom would argue with the referee.
Okay, well that's kind of the opposite, but fair enough. If it helped you and your team.
She was defending us. Fierce.
Fierce.
Didn't help that her son was a fat goalie. Gravity, man. Really tough to deal with if you're a goalkeeper.
What happened when you switched on to the bigger goals, Mitch?
That's when I really got bad.
That's where you retired?
I was fantastic, man. I was quick. I was really quick in the small goals. The problem was when they got a little bit bigger, I never did.
You didn't get bigger?
So I expanded in width instead.
We've all seen it, and now we're going to see if H2K can do something around mid lane, because right now, Febiven is in full control. Ahri, pre-6, kind of meh. Needs to get ulti, needs to ideally get more ranks in queue for some wave clear.
Ooh, Febiven baiting out the charm as well. He's really in control of the pacing of this lane, and I really love what Chei did there, grouping with Jankos.
Yeah, exactly, getting double control ward down, getting a ward here on the red buff to kind of try and spot where KaKAO is, because remember guys, when a rengar has level 6, you gotta ward a bit deeper, because you want to spot when he actually starts challenging that ulti.
Hit him in the setup though. Despite Chei not having a sight stone, he leveraged all his vision control to help his team. Right now, Sama and IgNar looking to do the same. They're actually contesting this vision, so this is the difference between okay teams and great teams. Like, they challenge vision as an objective.
No. Really slow still. Like I say slow, it's not really slow because small things are happening. Like small victories again, like oh I get a buff, I get a deep ward, you get a bit of extra farm, especially mid lane is pretty huge for H2K. Jankos doesn't have an opening. The triple dash Ahri, tough to gank.
And it's always the impending doom of a Stand United. Because you're like, okay, I can gank this guy, there's no ward. We probably don't have enough burst to one-shot him, but can we get through the Shen shield? Because if you miscalculate that call, the guy lands, taunts you, you suddenly lose on that play.
Now I want to look at PowerOfEvil here. I'm glad the camera's on him because he roams a lot, and it's actually good timing because they have Shen ulti as you highlighted. They're going bottom lane with the rengar ulti as well. Get ready, Mitch. This is your chance to shine.
KaKAO going in on the hunt will get triggered. Stand United coming in onto Chei. Chei flashes out. Nothing's happening. Nuclear has to survive. He drops.
Very good kill here from Misfits, and this is what we mentioned. PowerOfEvil, he likes to roam. It doesn't matter if he's down in CS. Once he gets to push, he's active on the map.
And I just really like how quick they act on that window. They don't ask, like, is it time to roam? Can we make that happen? KaKAO was there. He announced it. He gave support to PowerOfEvil to push, but now H2K looking to defend.
And Odoamne, no teleport right now. That means Misfits getting some damage on tower. Jankos just here to try and prevent them.
Yeah, they want to stall, right? Prevent this turret from falling so Odoamne can get first turret. The problem is, Nautilus is really slow.
He's pretty slow. He's pretty damn slow up here in the top lane. We'll have to wait for another wave, giving time for Alphari to return. I think actually Alphari's teleport will be ready before Odoamne's. So he might be able to make another play bot lane.
Yeah, before Odoamne even finishes up that turret.
Before Odo even gets to the turret. Dragon Beam started and potential red buff.
Korean Ezreal, man. They will always try to snipe your buffs.
I mean, it is actually unfair when like the real good Koreans play Ezreal. It just does like so much more than the normal Ezreal you see in professional play. I think Sven showed it yesterday.
Sven's not Korean.
He's Danish-Korean.
Danish-Korean.
So it's like, you know, people say Denmark is the South Korea
of Europe.
So kind of fits.
I mean, it makes sense. They play a mean Ezreal. And look at it again. H2K know this play is coming the second they saw PoE leave. But the problem is Jankos is on the top side right now, and there's really not much they can do in the bottom lane.
No, I mean, that's really tough. If you react slightly too late, suddenly you're dead. We also have to go back to that little point about, you know, fighting vision. Because remember, Misfits bottom lane walked up the river, cleared out the control wards, therefore made a path for PowerOfEvil where he could roam without getting noticed early on.
Yeah.
And then it was too late.
Yeah, that's actually a great observation because many teams would just leave those two control wards right there, and then it's so much easier to spot that. And that's all the reason they were there in the first place by H2K. They were exactly trying to prevent this play from happening, even having knowledge so. But luckily for them, Chei survived. They didn't lose the turret, and they got a constellation dragon on the back end, an Ocean, which is a really good early dragon as well. So the game is still even.
And Odoamne got some more farm top lane. Got some damage on that tower, so you might see H2K try and swap up to the top side once Shen has ulti again. Like, see if you can push out bottom lane, recall Ezreal, Malzahar, send them top and get that first tower.
Yeah, and that first turret goal could really swing open this game, because if you look at both these teams, so even right now, but they're so used to starting to snowball at this point. We tracked actually when there are significant or substantial, we call it leads and deficit. It basically means if you have a substantial lead, you have more than 52% of the gold currently in the game is in your pockets. Which means if you have a substantial deficit, you have less than 48. And if you look at Misfits, they score the best in these both categories.
It's absolutely insane how Misfits have only fallen behind in one game.
Yeah.
In one game, 2.3%.
Of the time have they spent actually with less than 48% of the gold. So these guys are so used to being neutral or ahead.
So part of me wants to see H2K get an advantage.
Yeah.
And I want to see how Misfits plays from behind. But I'm sure Misfits are like, why would we ever want to show that?
Yeah.
We can just always get ahead, you know.
Let's practice that in scrims.
Right.
Actually get ahead on stage.
So we saw IgNar was trying to set up like a Tahm Kench ulti here towards the mid lane for Febiven. Sadly, we're never in position, and rengar Tahm Kench ultis are not the most exciting ones, because rengar obviously needs to charge up his own ulti, but this top lane tower is going down, so is bot lane.
Yeah, Chei under pressure here, no flash here, so he's gonna drop Cam. Nuclear survive, that is the question. He's stuck with no summoners under the
You
turret.
better dance, Nuclear!
Dance, baby, dance. First turret did go to H2K, but it looks like the map is split right in half. The right side completely belongs to the Misfits. H2K take the scraps on the left side.
Exactly, the H2K team here, they surrender the bottom side, say, you know what, you guys are gonna die again, you're gonna lose tower, but we got top tower, and they might gank mid.
Yeah, because they have the tempo on the play. They initiated this play initially here. H2K, they went top with Jankos and Febiven. The mistake was that Chei and Nuclear did not back off in the bot lane, but obviously they started it sooner so they can get more chip damage on the mid lane turret.
There's the Misfits here on the mid lane, and luckily in the LCS, we have now gotten used to some of these early games where there isn't too much action.
I recall you casting one of those games.
We all survived the 75-minute one, so now if we just get like a few kills in the mid game, it's okay. And then we get the big team fights later on.
That's what we're looking for.
Odo here is fishing, didn't find anything. And now we just gotta see like a more open map. You know, 2 turrets are gone. Suddenly means we have some lanes that you can't really sit safely in anymore. And we might see some fights for blue buff.
Yeah, contest that, because that's what you fight over. It's the smaller objectives, and it's the smaller victories that you want. But you can definitely see that these teams really embrace the concept of alone I can't do anything, but if I pair up with my teammates and surprise somebody in a different lane, we can always secure an objective.
And we just always have to look at like the cross-map plays. And that's what we see in this situation. Obviously, yeah, perfect world, Chei and Nuclear has already left the bottom lane. So they don't die, because you can see Jankos is top lane taking that tower.
And Syndra was actually leaning all the way to the top side, facilitating that roam. Problem is, there's so much mobility or kind of map transportation in this lineup for Misfits. Deficio, you talked about it in Champs, like you have the Tahm Kench Abyssal Voyage, and suddenly you stand united, and what you perceive as a 2v2 standoff that you can stall is now a 4v2, 5v2 dive.
That's why we see now Misfits in the 1-3-1. Nuclear is stuck down bottom lane, so he's not able to join anything, while Alphari has teleport. This kind of gives a lot of map control to Misfits, knowing they will always have the numbers advantage, as long as Nuclear is bot lane. But no one wants to be bot if you're H2K. Like, no one wants to go down there.
Yeah, and hold.
It's like, Syndra, well, I can't move. Ezreal, I can't move. Like, and then you start sending your support and AD carry there.
And the game slows down. And
then the game slows down a lot, because then you just rely on wave clearing mid while pushing in the bottom lane, and it gets difficult. Luckily,
there is a dragon spawning in a minute, so if you're stuck in that situation, sometimes you can brute force a play by just focusing on an objective that's worth it. The opportunity cost, an Ocean Drake could be that for H2K, so they may tunnel on it, just group up.
There's also the classic ARAM that we have seen a few times, where if you don't know what to do, the middle of the lane is generally a good place to be.
When in doubt.
When in doubt, just be there, because it's pretty quick to go to both sides of the map, react.
Yeah, we see Alphari walking into the top lane, obviously, with that dragon spawning.
So, we have TPs on top side. Odoamne is actually bottom lane. That is not the correct position, unless he wants to save TP and use it back to tower.
They want to go to the objective immediately. This is the H2K approach, and this is the one point where the both teams really differ. When there's teleport advantage or teleport can be used, H2K really feel comfortable in numbers, just grouping up first, and then kind of patching up the teleport. Misfits always follow the steps that their analysts tell them to do, which is always put side lane pressure and then teleport into the fight.
Yeah, so now with Odoamne on bottom side pushing that lane in, he actually has to go back, because I'm not sure if H2K were expecting to just instantly take over the river. Hansama! Yeah, AD carries, mate.
Syndra in 2017.
I mean, to be fair also,
don't walk up there.
Don't walk up and get stunned. Good play by Febiven.
If you do, you need to have IgNar right there. And now suddenly this entire setup that Misfits was orchestrating is gone.
Throw it all out. Throw it all out. Now we get mid tower of H2K, Dragon for H2K. Odoamne gets a big fat wave in the top lane.
This was Misfits carefully building kind of a house of cards. Febiven walking up, slamming his hand on the table. Boom, all gone.
All gone. PowerOfEvil is he's looking, sightseeing, taking a few pictures.
Scenic route of Summoner's Rift.
Obviously, he can't really push anything because the bot lane already got shoved out. So, H2K and Misfits dead even in gold.
Yeah, but it feels like the control is still to H2K because they keep punishing Misfits in the setup. I think Misfits are doing the textbook correct play in terms of map setup. But H2K is a little bit more decisive, just pulling the trigger. Like we saw them chunk out IgNar as well when he was dueling for Vision. That's why he wasn't actually next to Hansama anymore to protect him from the Syndra.
I do think, though, whenever we see Misfits actually have the 1-3-1 set up, H2K is forced to sit pretty far back on the map, and they rely on like this Syndra stun into killing Hansama to kind of break it open. And that was obviously the problem for Misfits here. They actually had a pretty good setup. You know, Shen was top lane with his TP. H2K weren't really setting up for Dragon too much yet because it wasn't even there, they hadn't spawned.
And therein lies their failure very often. When they feel they can do it, they can brute force kind of the setup, and they fail. And then they put themselves in deficit in the mid to late game. We'll see if this kind of trend continues for H2K.
Good old Jankos, always vocal on Twitter.
Great account to follow.
Great account to follow.
Banter, analysis.
Used to be more banter, it burned him quite a bit. And now instead, he's tweeting about, you know, things like improving, getting ready for playoffs.
Yeah, something you could take advice from as well.
Damn. Damn, Mitch. You're play-by-play right now. I'll give it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
You got a few games to get it further up.
I'm just taking notes from the color caster. I've learned that if when you're color casting a game with Martin, you should just crouch and just really lean into the table.
Because, you know, the closer you are to the screen, the closer you are to the action. So
and you should make it really hard for your co-caster to actually see the minimap because you're constantly waving your hand in front of it.
Well, I'm trying to be animated to kind of guide you, Mitch. So the minimap is in the right bottom corner. And that's where you can see all 3 lanes at the same time. So I actually advise you to follow that more than what's on the screen.
I think that's it's great advice. I will cherish it.
I'm trying to help. I'm just trying to help.
If only I knew this in my pro career.
I know. No, I like the solo queue approach of never looking at the minimap. That is my favorite part. It literally doesn't matter what's happening around me as long as I am doing something.
And when you get ganked, just open up the flame.
Hey, it's not my fault.
US special.
How can they gank me? And that is why we're not beating the Koreans.
I think there's other reasons why we're not beating.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason.
Literally the only reason. Febiven right now, he pushed up his side lane. Is this what you were talking about earlier? He's not really comfortable playing Syndra on the side lane, right? Like, this guy pushes out one wave and he's like, team, can I assist you with anything?
I always use the river as kind of like the mark saying, this is where you can go. No further than this. Like, you get into the river and then you kind of send them off to school and you just back away. You leave them alone.
Send the kids to slow push.
Send the kids to slow push.
And inevitably crash into a turret and die.
Yeah, it's a brutal story. Don't do that to your kids, by the way. But also, if you have that many kids, that's impressive.
Yeah, 6 a wave. That's a lot of expendable children.
One is even on a cannon.
Yep. He's in a tank. Chei right now, looking for some deep vision. I think it's good. He found out that opposing jungler KaKAO was not near him, so he gets some deep vision. That's what you need to do when you set up any objective. If tier 1 tower bot lane is an objective you want to take, you need adjacent deep vision. And
now we can see how PowerOfEvil has full control of the one side lane. This is where Febi was just slow pushing it. He left it, so now PowerOfEvil can push it, but he has no teleport. So H2K is trying to cross map it and putting their focus on the bottom side. But they're not finding any engage, and that's a tower for Misfits.
It's also because Shen is so tanky, right? Because if you try to cross map, you could send Tahm Kench +1 to the bottom lane, but the problem is, or you could actually roam to the bottom lane. The problem is this Tahm Kench on the opposing team router can follow with you.
Now, I think H2K pushing down mid is fine because they can always move to the bottom side to escape. But PowerOfEvil's roaming down, and you gotta respect that. So you can see H2K moving down towards Odoamne. And again, this is what we talk about. You split up the map. H2K, they know they can't match lane for lane.
But look at the vision, though. Those 3 control wards on the left side. It's getting pretty dark right there, so Misfits, they can hide in a lot of brushes, and they can soon start putting Baron pressure.
And now it just becomes a fight of also like, stop the mid push, stop the mid push. If we're pushing, then they move in to force us back, and then when the other team is pushing, you move in and force them back, and you keep the mid lane control.
The respect from Alphari as well. He doesn't know exactly what H2K lineup is, so he's yielding the pressure, and he's just going to catch that wave right now. But Odoamne will have to walk all the way. Now we've seen in the past, as KaKAO takes his red buff away, that Odoamne will just join his team in these situations instead of just basing and returning to the bottom lane.
This time you played it correct though. H2K realizing with the 1-4 comp, as we like to call it, you play 2 lanes. The 1-3-1, you can focus all 3 lanes. That obviously is the big difference. But you can't just ignore the other one. You have to obviously slow push one side lane when you can.
And if you play Rocket Origin, you play a 5-0 comp.
You play the 5-0 comp 100%. Also the comp of saying when we have an advantage, we don't want to use it, because that would be unfair to the other team.
Equality amongst all. But yeah, the main objective on the map right now was the Baron, but with 50 seconds remaining on the Dragon and looking at the caliber of teams, it's really hard to force a decisive Baron play this early in the game. So it may actually be wise to shift the focus over to the 3rd Dragon here for H2K.
And really these kind of games where the teams are not making these huge mistakes of just kind of like opting into wrong lanes or wrong fights, or face checking, then you get less kills. This is very normal. There's not like a ton of hard engage on both sides. None of the teams are really looking for this like fiesta kind of game. So I'm glad I didn't bring the clown nose today.
There's still some confetti here.
There's some confetti. I didn't throw enough of it, so it's a little bit hard to see it on stream, but there were some. It was a party. I get so happy whenever I see the picture used now on Reddit. I'm just like, yes.
Yes, this is forever the picture that gets posted in any Clown Fiesta thread.
But this is not a Clown Fiesta by any means, and will not be one.
This will never devolve into kind of that level of play. We see that just the first steps are being taken here. Jankos, so careful. H2K is getting kind of squeezed right now. Their map is becoming progressively tinier because we see Misfits willing to venture into the enemy jungle, put some deep vision. Right. Because they have the big potential in their comp.
And what's going to happen in a game like this is we won't get the big open fight before someone is starting Baron. Because there's going to be a team going for Baron, and then, or of course someone like face checks, and then it opens up a fight. But normally it's like around Baron, one team starts it, the other team goes to stop it, they have a big fight. And it's always around an objective. You don't fight to fight, you fight to gain something after the fight.
There is something worth noting in terms of builds though. PowerOfEvil is going for an ultra defensive Ahri build.
Classic PowerOfEvil.
And that becomes a kind of a scaling problem, I think, for the Misfits. I think that's why H2K is so comfortable taking it slow. When they press tab, they know they have a scaling Ezreal that is doing well so far, you know, just farming up. He's on 190 CS at 22 minutes, slightly below average, but still doing just fine in the scaling department. And your opposing mid laner is building both a Zonias and an Abyssal. Yeah. Double negative items or defensive items is really going to slow down his build.
Very true, and the thing about Abyssal Scepter is when you don't have other AP damage sources on your team, like I'm not counting like a Tahm Kench or a bit of Shen here, their 10% extra magic damage the enemy takes, like that buff is kind of wasted. No one else is going to benefit. KaKAO is not going to benefit, and Sama's not going to benefit from it. So the fact he actually fully completed that very defensive item, and now, as you said, going for Hourglass as well.
And it makes it so he has a hard time making picks. I would defend this if you have Alphari on a carry, right? If you just need to buy time in the fight if you're PowerOfEvil. But the problem is, if this guy wants to jump in deep, he already has exhaust. He has a Shen ulti that he can get in defense or in help rather, and then IgNar can still devour him. Why does he need to build so defensive?
Well, I think in his mind, he's like, Abyssal Scepter, I'm going to 1v1 the Syndra all game long. It's going to have value. She can't burst me down. I can still kill her. I have enough damage to do it. Problem is, he's not factoring in the fact that the split pushing part of the game
is not happening.
Is not happening, and it will always end in big team fights. Like, winning the game as a split pusher, especially if you don't have teleport, is like almost impossible. You will have to fight.
Yeah, and you got to keep it up as well. Once you drop the pressure once, and that's what happened here, H2K, they just have Febiven match the lane, neutralize it, and join his team. Just push him to the river, just like you said. Send your kids off to school.
Send him to school, man.
And then go back. And it makes it really hard for PowerOfEvil to have an impact. He wants to make picks, but now he doesn't even have damage to really finish somebody off.
Oh, so H2K in a very good spot at the moment. They're also finding PowerOfEvil here. Let's see QSS, Mitch, our favorite item in the game. 0 on the side of Misfits. That means Chei is a happy man right now.
This guy's gonna have a field day.
He can pick anyone.
Ooh, it's getting dark. You see a face check here. Good vision, talk about the observers. KaKAO wastes his ultimate, engage from Odoamne. Our disengage penalty also used, so no good on the communication side here.
KaKAO is still popping that ulti. If he jumps in, he dies. So now 2 big ultis gone from Misfits. That is really huge for H2K. Again, in the small victory department, it is big. It's the big small victory.
Keep telling yourself that. In the small department, it is big, Martin. But right now, do they send Odoamne to the bot lane, or is H2K just comfortable playing this 5-man game? They're actually starting the Nash here because no wards have been placed, and the more defensive tools have already been used by Misfits.
And there's no ultis for Misfits right now on both Shen and rengar. That's one. Not an important one.
Alphari's in, Jankos is dropping. Jankos dropped already. Hansama's doing a lot of damage. PoE jumps in, he gets exhausted. Febiven looking for the return, but PoE is buying a lot of time with the Zonias. Alphari goes wide with the taunt. Nuclear, can't kite, he's just walking.
And only one member dying here. Jankos dropping low.
Because this is still the point of the game where the Abyssal and the Zonias still have an effect, right? Because the base damages are okay.
Oh, PowerOfEvil had no damage.
Lance Charm.
Oh!
It's a tank.
It fits the game, you know, the first fight is like 1 kill.
Oh, Odoamne though. 2 kills, he steps forward, he wants to peel here. Obviously Alphari can also tank up quite a storm, IgNar as well.
Odoamne got tired of sending the kids to school, wanted to offer himself. Goes down.
But we'd have to rewatch the fight and see what happened, how exactly Jankos got popped so easy, because these fights are of a different nature. They're very slow. With comes with top lane tank, support tank. You gotta take a different approach. You can't just shotgun. Your tank dives my backline, I will dive your backline and then pray. You have to play kind of the in and out style that the Koreans are so good at doing.
For many years, the humans thought praying was the answer. But let's see, KaKAO goes in. So it's torn onto Jankos, and it's actually just KaKAO follows up right after, and also Hansama
And
managed
that's
to
the
hit him.
difference. IgNar just devours KaKAO out. So
Yeah.
there is no eject button for the H2K lineup. They're all walking back right here, but this devour is really paying off.
Would have been a 1-for-1 normally, but then the Tahm Kench was in the mix. No Baron, Krepo. No massive gold lead, but a dead Febiven.
Throw that grump. Good cleanse. Does he have enough move speed?
Oh! The crowd agrees, and now they're all
Oh,
gonna
here's
die.
Jankos though. He comes in. Alphari, did they bite off more than they can chew? Love that phrase.
Well, they're going for more here, Mitch. IgNar spitting him out. They're just chasing though, and there's red buff on 2 members from H2K.
Hansama actually got TP'd on by Odoamne. This may be very big for the game if he cannot escape. He drops, Jankos gets him. So in essence, that is a play that Misfits started, and a 3-for-1 for H2K.
Oh, Misfits, they thought they could just one-shot Syndra because PowerOfEvil was top lane, so it's like, okay, we get a kill bot lane, we have full pressure, 3 lanes, end up losing 3, and now PowerOfEvil, he's recalling. He doesn't have a whole lot of mana.
He has his Zonias.
He can go in and look golden, and he's actually just giving it up. They're just going to surrender Baron over for H2K. 27 minutes in.
That's going to be a
swing.
rough one. With this composition, playing versus the Baron team, it completely negates any split push you have.
I mean, just you have scaling on the side of H2K, you have the Dragons, you now have the Baron, and 1-3-1 once it falls behind will do nothing.
So this rengar ulti plus Shen, PowerOfEvil, or Febiven rather, with the great timing. There was a good cancel onto IgNar, because if IgNar lands here with the Abyssal Voyage, Febiven dies, he can't use that combo on KaKAO. That means Jankos, who's the guy, by the way, who cancelled IgNar, can't actually join this play, and we see an entirely different scenario.
I think we could also see in a world where KaKAO flashed the stun from Febiven, ended up flashing after though, so he didn't actually get to burst him down fast enough, and that's one of the reasons he also stayed alive longer. Good interrupt though, as you said, from Jankos.
Yeah, and it's actually the ward that Odoamne teleported to, guess who placed it?
Jankos?
Jankos as well. So this guy stopped the Abyssal Voyage, placed the ward that cut off Hansama, and then was the key factor in the fight, so Jankos definitely showing up in this series.
Because he placed a ward.
Hey, if you place a ward that a teleport happens and the guy kills him, it's
Then
still
you're the
your
MVP.
ward.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're the MVP.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works. I agree.
Glad you agree.
I definitely agree, Mitch. I don't disagree with you. Sometimes I did yesterday, you got mad at me.
For people who don't actually know, the phrase "I don't disagree" is the worst thing you could ever say.
I don't
If
think it's
you
the
don't-
worst thing you can ever say.
Yeah, okay, it's not the worst thing, but if you don't disagree with somebody, agree with them.
That's true. You made fun of my body earlier. It still hurts. That was way worse.
That's why we're working on that.
Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't disagree either. So,
1 million fans cry out in despair as Martin Deficio admits to being taken.
and H2K took that Baron away from Misfits. I'm not really sure how Misfits gonna fight their way out of this one. Like, damage-wise, it's really tough for Jhin to deal with these big frontline tanks right now, especially with lethality build. Like, Hansama is literally built to kill squishies.
Yep.
In front of him is a 250 armor Odoamne. So
At least he doesn't have ninja tabis.
no need to have his. He was a nice guy right there. He saved him for that one. But like, your flat armor pen
Is useless.
is literally, it reduces like the damage reduction by like 2 or 3% at this point against Odoamne. So completely useless, does absolutely nothing.
Your math is phenomenal. Don't let Deficio ever do your taxes. But
Just
yeah,
roughly 2 or 3%. I mean,
give or take 10%. But yeah, it's not quite as good here. Jankos, that's a bold leap. One could say that is a bit of a throw. He's jumping in. He's going to lose a J here. Trying to stuff out. Now the
he's
Cavalier
buying
arrives.
time. He's baiting. He's baiting.
Is it a ruse? Is it a setup? Chei, now PowerOfEvil.
But he was
No QSS.
tanky.
And he drops.
No QSS here. Chei's been able to just pick whatever target he wants. KaKAO's behind the team. It's not going to do anything, Mitch. And Odoamne with the hook.
Now Alphari goes low. He jumps out. He has the taunt available. The irony, in the one defensive item that PowerOfEvil needed, he didn't actually build. He should have gone QSS, Abyssal, and Zonias. He would have survived.
I mean, again, I don't think you needed to complete the Abyssal. You could have sat on like Negatron. That could have become the QSS because again, getting that magic damage or damage reduction aura or increase aura doesn't really do anything for his team.
Definitely doesn't. Alphari actually goes wide with the top flash. He goes and he will get eliminated immediately. Hansama is looking for return damage, but he's essentially zoned. Now IgNar comes in. That creates some space for Sama and Alphari. The push will be thwarted. Half HP Nexus turret, but H2K very happy with how that play turned out. Looking at the fact that Jankos actually jumped in blind into a charm.
We're also glad to see H2K not greeting for the Nexus here.
Oh, yes.
The one big criticism we have for them all the time is the late game fights, where it's one or two guys who's a little bit too eager to get in there.
That's the play that shouldn't be made. Maybe that was the Jankos leap over. Still a little too early. And then the other problem with H2K is that they can never adapt on a call. When they go in, they go ham. Like, they never stop. They never ask themselves, should we turn around? Because, like, let's look at the vision. Like, Jankos is trying to assassinate enemy support, but look how far his team is. The closest guy now enters the jungle.
I mean, the thing is, he only had the minions down there. We saw PowerOfEvil, so I'm not sure if he didn't see anyone else, but IgNar must surely have just walked by.
But where else would they be? Like in their base? And
yeah, dancing in the base, you know, hoping for rain.
And then IgNar gets baited in trying to save PowerOfEvil, so it feels like we're finally seeing communication errors here by the Misfits.
This is greedy by Misfits now. 3 members actually might get caught out. Chei is going to find his target.
Yeah, no Alphari, he can't join, so IgNar needs to be sacrificed. He needs to buy time, get PowerOfEvil away, get KaKAO away, no more resets. Can Jankos find somebody else? Nuclear, ballsy. PoE looking for the counter push.
And this kind of game is like watching like a chess match or like golf, you know. It's like, it's very slow in that sense. It's the same. I was going for the crowd noise more. I was aiming for, like, when you see a good play in between like the 10 minutes of small things, you get like a few claps. Like,
I mean, it may also be because we have 2 color casters.
I mean, it may be, so there's a lack of height, but like some of the other games we've had this week has been like proper football matches. You know, people are screaming left and right because people are just dying all over the place.
A lot of dives.
A lot of dives, a lot of face checks. Not this series here. This is where you feel like a proper gentleman. If you watch it in the audience, you sip your tea, you just clap a little bit whenever something good is happening.
And you applaud the move.
And then you...
No Zlatan.
No Zlatan. No Zlatan. But you appreciate the small things in life.
Definitely have to. Sometimes that's all you have left. IgNar again showing the power of Devour. But then getting sacrificed. This is obviously the sports life. You make a play.
Chei didn't actually ulti anything. I think he was like, IgNar's gonna die no matter what.
And then everybody else is out of range.
Could have flashed for PowerOfEvil pretty easily.
Would have led into an objective. The waves were not in the perfect states. And I think that is something pro teams always need to look for. Will an additional kill actually net as an objective? Or should we just kind of start fixing the map?
I guess I am too used to people just going for the kills now.
You've adopted Europe too long.
Been in, well, not, I mean, just, you say Europe, I say every
region
team in the
except
world, for top Korean teams.
As punishment, you must watch the Telecom Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
To be fair, they actually fought a lot there. I gotta give full credit to KT and SKT for the amount of fights they had.
Yeah, but they fought for a reason.
Yeah, always. But the thing, you can always fight for a reason, right? I want to fight for this ward right here on the screen.
Vision is an objective.
I do not allow this ward to be here. I will force a fight right now. So you can always find a reason in League of Legends.
As long as you fight the enemy team.
Yes.
Not your own.
Not your own. Not your own.
I think an objective we're fighting over is spawning in about 20 seconds. Talk us through the approach, Martin. You as a Baron setup leveler, what's the playbook here?
The playbook at this point, if you're H2K, is you hide in the dark, you have your control wards down, and you wait for the innocent support to walk in. Because the communication from Misfits right now is, who do we send in? Who do we sacrifice?
Nobody. You push mid first, because that is what I've learned from listening to the Deficio cast.
No, you have to sacrifice someone at some point, because H2K is in the dark.
Here we go, PoE. Nice cleanse by Febiven.
They got Shen ulti though. Alphari.
Yeah, this could be a big flash. No flash. Jankos going low. Febiven getting sniped. KaKAO on the top side. Can he get Febiven and then Nuclear? He finds one, maybe finds 2. Nuclear is low. Odoamne is coming in for peel, but Jankos is dropping. This could be a good fight for the Misfits.
And now Nuclear, Odoamne as well. There are only 2 members alive. PowerOfEvil. He's low. He's down. He's not down.
Saves him. Malzahar needs peeling. Nuclear is looking to snipe him from the side. Chei looking to harass over the wall. What a great devour from IgNar. He tried to Abyssal Voyage, but he got cancelled by damage.
Now H2K lost 2 members here, but everyone from Misfits very, very low, so they can't actually do anything.
They just need to stall bases if those minions can help IgNar again.
Hook him.
Yeah, he gets cancelled.
Stopped him once again. Chei might die. He's going down.
But Nuclear is untouched. Odoamne with the peel. 5v3 H2K engaged. Will they win this fight?
Seems like a no, unless Chei can stay alive in the...
Odoamne took out one in the back end. Hansama dropped, so that was a 1-4-3 in the end.
A lot of people died, Mish.
1 for 2 in the end. I'm doing math here, man. It's hard.
Odoamne saved his GA. Bot lane tower, Nexus turret did drop. Odoamne might stop KaKAO again. Actually, if he hooks him here, he might kill him.
Yeah, he gets the set. KaKAO looking for one more stack, but he could not get the CC resistance. The greedy base.
Oh, the base. That can cost so much because Baron is alive now. 20 seconds on the bot lane from H2K, but they have Kha'Zix, they have Syndra.
But you have one guy that has to hold his wave forever. Of course, Alphari can actually teleport in, but This changes everything. It was a bold move from H2K to go in, though.
Inim is back now, so no more super minions. They don't actually have to sit and defend bottom side. They can go up here and stop. Tahm Kench's ulti.
It's too far.
PowerOfEvil, I'm not sure he's... Yeah, they won't get here in time. This is a Baron for H2K, and it was actually a good fight for Misfits.
Yeah, great fight. From a deficit, without any vision, they just decisively went in, and that is what you have to do. You gotta pull the trigger before you're forced to face check and take a really disadvantageous fight.
They took so much damage though on the way out of the jungle. Like, so look at the setup here. This is the push mid. From them, PowerOfEvil,
like
good catch. Febiven drops super low. And now with Alphari coming in, he taunts, and then KaKAO moving behind H2K. At this point, Odoamne is not even there. He's running from base, so it's a 4v5.
A couple of great shots from Hamsama as well. He really finds Febiven in the backline that enables KaKAO. But this is the point of overchase, I think. Imagine if Misfits actually turned around here, because they're getting so many shots off from Nuclear in their face, but Odoamne is really doing a tank's dream job into peeling.
Yeah, I don't think they realized Odoamne had every single cooldown. Otherwise, PowerOfEvil wouldn't have walked next to him, because he was always going for Nuclear, and then he gets knocked up, then suddenly he's low. That's a man on your screen who just got caught and died.
Or he's fixing his hair.
Could be both. I actually talked to him about it. The Korean fashion. Always love to swing the head over there near the forehead.
We see KaKAO with on the hunt. 1, 2, 3. Will it land? 4. Alphari comes in. He has a really good path for a taunt.
Oh, he didn't go for it,
He didn't wait
actually.
because he waited for the disengage. Now PowerOfEvil was flanking, but it doesn't find Jankos. Has to disengage. Jankos is stuck. Alphari still in the front line. Who can tank longer? Odoamne or Alphari?
Well, I'm going to give it to Odoamne with the GA for now. PowerOfEvil did pop his ulti. That's a huge cooldown. H2K.
And that's the problem. Misfits, they're playing kind of shotgun style. They have one go button. They pressed it. Not much happened here. The sustained damage from Nuclear can take over, but Febiven got caught by a charm. He drops. It's now 5v4. Nuclear going in.
And Nuclear. Fuck it. We knew both.
Jankos is dropping. Ansama, big crit in the face. Jankos does he survive? No, Odoamne is too strong. Now it's just Odoamne and Jankos. GA comes out. Chei, what can you do, buddy? You're a support Malzahar. You have damage. KaKAO is dropping. Last man standing will be Barney, which is Alphari, by the way. And he's looking to hold. But it all starts crumbling down, even though they found Febiven. H2K, pretty clean overall.
We'll get to finish the Nexus. Krepo, slow and steady for H2K. Well-played game where we're only really looking at, you know, small mistakes. Where Misfits got a few things here and there, but overall H2K.
Yeah, small mistakes. It was enough for H2K to take game 1 in this series. Hopefully the Misfits can bounce back, because we want to see 3 games.
Well, H2K only wants to see 2 games right now.
So we are neutral.
We
unbiased.
are neutral, unbiased people who would never swear on air.
Yeah.
Apologize for that one.
Jesus Christ, Martin. There's children watching.
Hey, we talk about sending him. Yeah, Jankos is a happy man. Got these Kha'Zix 6, 2, and 5 in this game.
Yeah, we get to see Chris backstage and Prawley.
Notice how Prawley, when he's with his team, never smiles.
No,
never wants to show to them.
For Prawley to show emotion.
Yeah, no, don't want to show he's happy. Wants to keep them in check. But whenever Prawley's with everyone else.
Yeah, look at Jankos.
Yeah, see?
He walked off stage happy. Prawley said no.
No, no, no.
No smiles.
No. You died twice. You guys almost lost to the Baron. You died in the bot lane. No, 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 no.
I walked by them once, their table, and the first thing Prawley said is like, you know, you should have died here, right? And the players were, yes, yes, Prawley. Yes.
Yeah, that's a classic. And obviously they will go through everything in this game. Overall, if you are H2K, happy with first game. I think Misfits, we talked a lot about the 1-3-1, you know, not really being able to kind of deal with full late game, also with PowerOfEvil's build. Never really got to set up.
Getting a little tired of your analysis.
That's fine.
So with H2K taking the first game, let's head it over to the analyst desk where Perkovic is sitting by to drop the knowledge bombs.
Well, and stress.
Thank you so much, Krepo. Great job, you two, over there. And, well, we're going to start tell the story of the game phase by phase. But first off, I do want to say that we have a man here who is proud of H2K, but incredibly disappointed in Misfits. Is that fair to say?
I'm not incredibly disappointed, but like a bit disappointed because they've shown what they can do in early game. They had a good early game. They had a good plan. Like Ahri was losing mid lane, but their support and jungle went mid, they relieved pressure. Then next they push and go dive bot, and they did it like twice. But I think H2K kind of should have respected them more, and their bot lane should have just based. And what people like to do versus Shen is just swap top and go onto Shen's lane, which I didn't do. But I still traded sides, and like Nautilus got top 2, so it wasn't like end of the world. It was just a good early game by Misfits into
Let's first look at the early game. Let's start by that because that was
Yeah,
good. And
that's fair enough.
let's look at why it was good. It was KaKAO putting a lot of pressure on the map.
And it was this ward clearing. This is what we've been talking about, clearing vision as an objective in its own right. We were looking at this play quite a lot, Perks. How telegraphed is this? Like, I mean, we know PowerOfEvil's coming, but what do H2K need to do differently
I
in
think
this
H2K
situation?
bottom should have just given up the wave, or either give up one wave or go or base and go top. It's really simple. Like there's nothing that there's nothing that H2K can do at this point. Like Shen, Ahri, and rengar are just made for this. You know, it's what the champs do.
And they did it again.
And it happened again, and blues, and yeah.
Definitely. So well-executed dives there from the Misfits, and they get a slight advantage. But as we're going to see later, H2K doesn't let the advantage go out of control because a bit later they're going to catch out Hansama in the mid lane. He's going to get singled out by Febiven, then they can take the Drake, and really there's not much happening. And you said, well, Hansama gets caught here, he single-handedly loses the game for his team. A bit of an overreaction, I would say.
A bit of an overreaction, like a very big over-situation, but he did lose so much pressure because H2K at this point actually had so much pressure. Ahri was about to push bot, they were about to push every side of left mid, get all the vision, and Hansama just single-handedly dropped all the pressure they had in the game by dying their mid and then losing mid turret 2, which didn't matter that much because they are 1-1 comp and then the 1-4 comp, so the silence pressure is still the same, and Jhin and Tahm are fairly safe mid without turret even, but it still like lost them a lot of tempo and pressure in the game and ended up like H2K having like a free scaling basically, or like not so free, but they had like an easier time than they should have had.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you're looking at a composition where you've got rengar, who has to find a target in a fight, 2 tanks, and Ahri that, as Deficio and Krepo were talking all the way through.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Misfits had 2 tanks
They had
because
2
Ahri
tanks
was building tank.
But the thing is, if you're building a lower damage on your mid laner, then suddenly the AD carry has to step up. That's where the damage has to come from, right?
But is that, should you build lower damage on mid lane like Ahri in this situation? You obviously think no.
I obviously am against any like
Protection
on Ahri
just go in
because
all
you
the
are
time.
an assassin and you are supposed to kill people or like at least deal damage in team fights, which he was not. He only built an items to win versus Syndra 1v1, even though he doesn't need to because he has exhaust and he has a Shen, so he could easily go full damage build on silent and still win against Syndra and pressure him all the time. And then since he didn't build it, he could not deal any damage in team fights at all, and he just completely wasted his gold on Zhonya and Abyssal, which is really useless, and even Mercs were horrible buy, and I think it was just horrible build for him. And also Jhin fent 2 lethality items. Lethality is usually really good stat versus like full squishy teams, but they're like Kha'Zix and Nautilus, so I think that he should have just went like for the standard Jhin build, like which is Yumus into Edge into Fire Cannon and Last Whisper. So he can like easily get to that point, but he went for Edge Knight too. I'm not an expert on AD carry, but this is like what is the most common one.
You should do this, and this, but I'm not an expert on AD carry.
But that's what I think though, so yeah.
Well, a lot of criticism for some of the builds and stuff on the side of Misfits, but H2K then played it out very well. I would have said that H2K was for me a question mark when it comes to mid and late. But you said, well, actually, Misfits for me, the fact that they slowed down, it means that they're hugely vulnerable in the mid game, much more than we usually say about them.
Well, honestly, it's true because I think as much as KaKAO and IgNar are carrying early games and playing so perfect around vision and around pressure in early game, I think after 20 minutes mark they get a bit lost or impatient. They start trolling and they go like over the boundaries, and you can see KaKAO here, like he just lost the Nash for his team, you know. Honestly, like he was a bit unlucky because he just misplayed. He had flash, so he could just flash over the Syndra E and he would kill Syndra, which had no flash. So it was like a misplay from him, but it's not the first time it happens. We can see this very, very often from KaKAO and IgNar. So
I was shocked by the zoom in on the...
Yeah, seeing all the secrets.
Yeah, the secrets. Because secrets or not, it was a great game from H2K.
Yeah, it was. H2K with a good turnaround, and I think H2K kind of feeling a lot more confident with this tank play from the top lane. Like Odoamne is a lot more confident with that. We've had word that H2K have chosen blue side for this next game. I kind of want to see Misfits unlock Alphari. Shen isn't a good pick, it's a great pick for most teams, but I think Alphari's strength really comes from being able to dominate a lane, split push, and actually try and push an advantage. I don't know the exact pick that will work because obviously H2K is smart enough not to just give him like a Camille, but certainly I want to see Misfits with something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Is that the way for Misfits? Put all the eggs in the Alphari basket?
I don't know, and I don't agree because I think the best way to play the game right now is to put tanks top lane, and even if you play split pushers, like you will just go 30 CS down, and you can later, even if you lose in side lane, you can just like slow push one wave and like give up one wave and just go S5, S4, get vision around Nash, because tanks can face check and carries can't face check. So what you want to do with tanks is like you want to give up side waves or just slow push them and then move to your teammates and then get vision for them and just basically carry the game alone by being a tank who is 1 CS down, but it doesn't even matter. So I think tanks are the way to go right now.
All right, you said 2-0 for H2K, you said 2-1 for Misfits. So are you confident enough after what you've seen now to say that H2K will take this in the next game? And do you want to change your prediction, Stress?
I mean, since Febiven like really destroyed the PowerOfEvil mid lane, like 50 CS up in 12 minutes or something, I think, yeah, it's gonna get 2-0 for H2K.
I'm not willing to change straight away. I think the problem though is if this same kind of playstyle happens again, I think Misfits can't hang with H2K playing this one, and that's why I want to see them change up their style. I'm not saying that like the way to play isn't tanks, but I think Misfits' way to play against H2K needs to be something more than trying to play the exact same game, because they're not quite there yet.
All right, well, we will see what happens. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will have Game 2 between Misfits and H2K.
Clap, 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 clap. Hey, nice time, bro.
That's first turn did go to H2K, but it looks like the map is split right in half. The right side completely belongs to the Misfits.
Yeah, I go one. No, we can control here.
Yeah, I go.
Okay, because it.
I go, Jhin flash.
Nice. Okay, go nice.
Set up Chei, now PowerOfEvil. But he was possessed. He drops.
KaKAO looking for one more stack, but he could not get the CC resistance. The greedy base. It was enough for H2K to take game 1 in this series. Hopefully, the Misfits can bounce back, because we want to see 3 games.